Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas, we present a heavyweight special attraction in the ring brought to you by Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel, in theaters March 13th, and proper number 12 Irish whiskey, the finest, the tastiest, the smoothest liquid gold in the world. This bout is sanctioned by the IBF. The president, Gerald, introducing our three judges. Scoring from ringside, we have Tim Cheatham, Eric Cheek, and Max DeLuca. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing in an IBF heavyweight world title eliminator. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trunks with red and gold trim, hailing from Vallejo, California. He weighed in at 236.5 pounds. His record stands at 20 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the world-ranked heavyweight contender known as El Gallo Negro, introducing Gerald Washington. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner in this 12-round eliminator, wearing black trunks with gold trim, originally from St. Louis, Missouri, now fighting out of Carson, California. He weighed in at 254 pounds. His record stands at 27 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, with 24 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former IBF heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Prince Charles Martin. And a referee in charge now to give instructions, Tony Weeks.
Here we go.
I think they're having a little bit of trouble taking off the jacket of Charles Martin. Finally, they got it.
Looks really cool. I know he has a tribute to Kobe Bryant on his ring attire.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Right here is good. Right here is good. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourself at all times. Let's go.
Our co-main event, look at that stare down. Charles Martin and Gerald Washington staring darts into each other.
I mean, both of these guys know what's on the line. They have been friends. They have been former sparring partners. Tonight, they are foes.
Absolutely, the friendship out the window.
That's it.
And the MGM Grand Garden Arena sold out at capacity. And the fans are getting revved up for our main event. But right now, Gerald Washington and Charles Martin. Washington conventional, wearing the white trunks with the red and gold trim as a tribute to the USC Trojans. Wearing the black and gold is Prince Charles Martin. Gerald Washington having come off a victory against Robert Helenius. That was back on July 13th in Minneapolis. Charles Martin fought that night as well. He finished off Daniel Martz in the 4th round. So both men coming off of stoppage victories on the same exact night. Gerald Washington with that right hand to the body of Charles Martin. Martin has a higher knockout percentage than Gerald Washington. 80% for Martin, just 54% for Washington. But Washington is the more aptitude, or has the focus to box more than Martin.
Yeah, and Martin himself too, you know, I would believe he considers himself more of a boxer than a devastating, you know, knockout puncher. But one of the things him and Manny Robles worked on a lot in this camp is boxing more. It's using the jab, trying to control the distance, because Gerald Washington can be kind of awkward, kind of unpredictable at times in some of his fights. So if he can just pace himself, not look for the knockout, although he said round 4 knockout at the press conference.
Yes.
That's what Charles Martin says, but we'll see if that comes to fruition. But nice right hand landed there from Gerald Washington.
But Gerald Washington, he's quick, and he's smart inside the ring. Former USC Trojan who played under Pete Carroll. Also was a member of the United States Navy.
Such a unique journey.
Yeah, he definitely did, and he's 37 years of age, but I'd have to say that Washington is a young 37. Actually fought Deontay Wilder some fights ago in which he was stopped by Wilder. I mean, go figure on that one. He fought Wilder back on February 25th of 2017, so almost 3 years to the date. And Washington was actually fighting Wilder well in that fight a little bit. You know, he's doing well in the first 4 rounds, and then bang, he got clipped and game over. But both men, you know, have been at the top of the mountain with the exception of Washington not winning the world title, but they've, you know, been in there with the world's best.
Yes, and speaking of that, Charles Martin was a world champion, albeit a very short reign. Lost in his first defense just 3 months after to Anthony Joshua. But fighting in a title eliminator, that's what it does. It gets you back into position to become a mandatory for a world title shot.
Well, absolutely. And
nice.
A couple right hands by Gerald Washington. He's coming forward, but back comes Charles Martin.
Oh, here we go.
Heavyweights are slugging it out. Oh, a straight left by Martin. Washington ties up. He might have been hurt.
He was. His legs were ready to go right there. He had him.
Martin with a straight left right in the kisser of Gerald Washington. And Washington isn't even going right to the proper corner. He went to the neutral corner, and he had to stumble over to the red corner.
And I think that might have been because Martin started walking to the red corner.
Oh, my.
Backed up, but it was a left hand from Martin that sent Washington back a little bit. We missed the one big exchange right there, but it was Gerald Washington with his backs against the rope. Strong opening round for Charles Martin.
Well, let me point out to you, Christina, in the corner of Charles Martin, Manny Robles is his lead trainer. The second, one of the assistants is Henry Tillman. Henry Tillman actually fought and beat Mike Tyson to keep Tyson off of the U.S. Olympic team back in 1984.
Wow. Talk about some experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is an experienced corner.
Yes, it very much is so. And they're going to need that because, look, he's in a situation where that IBF title held by Anthony Joshua, although Kubrat Pulev is in the mandatory position, something happens to Pulev or they fight, they're in the position to take that title shot. He's got to win this fight to get in that position. And can you imagine Manny Robles getting another shot at a world title with a completely different heavyweight?
And another opportunity at Anthony Joshua as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
You think he's familiar with him? I would say so.
Right.
But right now, Charles Martin and Gerald Washington, the focus the rest of the night, the heavyweight division. And it is so true that there is nothing like a big prize fight, but it has extra pizzazz when it is the heavyweight championship of the world.
Yeah, because in this division, I mean, more so than any other, one punch can change everything because of the amount of weight and power coming behind these punches with guys of this magnitude, particularly in our main event with these, what they're calling now super heavyweights.
Well, I mean, it's different breed of athlete. I mean, Tyson Fury moves around like a middleweight. Deontay Wilder punches like someone who I've never seen in my life before. I would never take any amount of money to take a right hand from Deontay Wilder. You can give me $1 billion. No thank you on that one.
Yeah, no thank you.
But right now, Gerald Washington and Charles Martin going at it as we approach a minute to go here in the second.
It seems as though Gerald Washington's a little bit hesitant to kind of let his hands go. He's using his jab to kind of keep the distance, but every time he starts to open up, Charles Martin is successful getting inside. He needs to be first.
Martin with that left that missed, but you know, Washington doesn't seem to be as willing to engage based on the fact that he tasted the power of Martin at the end of the first.
And you talked about the advantage that he has in that power column. 27 wins for Prince Charles Martin, 24 of those by knockout.
That is a high knockout percentage, 80%, but a little bit shy of Deontay Wilder's knockout percentage of over 95%, the highest in heavyweight history.
So impressive.
Gerald Washington using his jab, trying to keep Charles Martin at bay. Martin aiming to close the distance. A right hand by Washington. A right hand that connected, stopping Martin in his tracks.
Yeah,
Boy, I think he sees that Washington could be susceptible to the power of Charles Martin. So when Manny Robles sees something, you have to be able to take note of that. We'll see if Gerald Washington can stay away from that right hand and use his boxing to maintain his distance from Charles Martin.
And we're talking about a right hand that's a lead right hand because he's in the southpaw stance. And that's a lot of times when you see a fighter like a Terrence Crawford fighting a lot of the time southpaw, that's because his strong hand, speaking of strong hand, that was a nice left hand from Martin there, is because that's his lead hand, is his right hand. That's why it's in front.
Well, also, as Washington comes forward, it's a way to use that right hook to draw him in. So I'm curious to see if Martin's going to keep coming forward, try to set traps, whereas Washington, I think he needs a big punch to keep his distance, because otherwise Martin is going to start to get more aggressive and close the distance.
Agree wholeheartedly, and right there, as he tries to continue to move, and just a simple 1-2 punch combination sends Washington back on his heels.
Well, Martin proclaimed to you during the pre-fight press conference on Thursday here in Las Vegas that he was going to finish off Gerald Washington in 4. So we'll see if that prediction reigns true. Again, still to come, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, the rematch here tonight in Las Vegas. Both men unbeaten. They had a draw in Los Angeles in December of 2018.
Set him up for that 1-2.
Gerald Washington doing a little bit better job of landing that right hand.
Give me a double jab. Back him up.
Well, you're hearing the double jab is what out of Ramon Espada, the lead trainer of Gerald Washington. Now, this is a slow and methodical that we are seeing from the heavyweights. Jab by Washington. Washington picked up a very big win with the stoppage over Robert Helenius. Helenius actually is going to be fighting Adam Kovnatsky back on a few weeks' time in New York. But Washington looked exceptional in that fight, was letting his hands go. So I wonder if he's just trying to figure out Charles Martin and then start to throw more power punches.
Yeah, coming off the best fight of his career, trying to build on that momentum is what he talked about at the press conference. And he does have, you know, using that patience is something that Gerald Washington feels like works to his advantage. He's not trying to go in there and look for the knockout. He's okay with being patient, work off the jab.
But he's got to land something substantial, a right hand or a power punch of sorts. But right now, Martin not doing too much and pawing away at the jab. As Washington throws the jab, Martin is kind of pawing it away. And that ends the 3rd round. And right now, you see that we are into our next round with Gerald Washington, round 4, and Charles Martin. Ray Flores, Christina Poncher, ringside here in Las Vegas. What a night so far, and still to come. What the world has been anticipating. Charles Martin with the straight left, backing up Gerald Washington. Martin with another straight left, and Martin starting to move forward more. And Washington with the jab. Now he comes forward, and a wild right hook that missed as Martin got out of the way.
And that kind of wild punch that you saw from Washington is kind of true to the style of him. I feel like he just kind of throws punches from these weird angles at times. They don't really come straight down the pipe, and they're still dangerous, even though he's not really known as a knockout artist. And Martin's just got to be careful and not pull straight back. Well,
the one punch in boxing that is the most, typically is the most lethal, is the one in which you don't see coming. And with Gerald Washington, he throws from wild and a bevy of angles that make it problematic for you to, in theory, block it in terms of the way you would conventionally do it.
And that's exactly right. And that's why Manny Robles said we had to also work on, you know, keeping our high guard and just controlling that distance, controlling that space, so that we can kind of see everything coming at the proper distance where we want to dictate this fight taking place. Excuse me.
Martin steps in with his jab a little bit as he aiming to close the distance more. So far, this right now, Christina, favors Gerald Washington. The pace, the tone, the range. Right now, this is favoring Gerald Washington. There's a right hook for Martin. I'm not saying Washington's winning, but the distance and all the things involved in it favor Washington.
Sure. Yeah, I do think that Charles Martin is leading, or is winning this fight, but like you said, and it could be a situation where maybe Washington is down on the cards, but he lands one of those awkward shots and just changes everything.
Well, no question. Washington finished off Robert Hellenius back on July 13th of last year.
That was a good shot.
Washington has won 2 of his last 3. Charles Martin, he's had in his last 3 fights a unanimous decision loss to Adam Kovnowski in September of 2018, a disqualification victory against Gregory Corbin, and then a finish of Daniel Martz in the 4th round. A big shot by Martin, and Washington was hurt for a moment.
Again, too little, too late. Hey, Patrick Mahomes in the house.
Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP. What he did with the Kansas City Chiefs this year, absolutely remarkable. Down by 10 points midway through the 4th quarter, no problem.
Yeah.
Goes back and leads the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl.
Travis Kelce sitting over here to our right.
He's
They showed
fun.
Draymond Green walking in the back, so the stars are out early. And what a good opportunity, too, for these 2 heavyweights to start to get some eyeballs on them, considering they be lining themselves up for a world title shot.
Absolutely. And now Washington coming forward with a big right hand. Now Washington is starting to pick up the pace. And speaking of picking up the pace, you're starting to hear the British fans sort of get revved up because they know we are inching closer to our main event of the evening. And their man, the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, challenging Deontay Wilder. Jab to the body by Charles Martin as over a minute has come off the clock here in the 5th round. Gerald Washington with the right to the body of Charles Martin. Christina, do you think that these guys are of the mindset of, let me just go out and get this win, or do you think, and there's a right hand that connects snapping off the head of Charles Martin, or are they thinking, we need to entertain because this is such a big platform and a big stage?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that need to entertain. Whoa! And speaking of entertaining, big left hand from Charles Martin. I think what I was going to say was Martin feels that, I think, a little bit more. And I feel that way because of him saying, I want to knock him out in the 4th round.
Yes.
And I've been a world champion. I want to be a 2-time world champion. So I think he feels that pressure a little bit more, whereas Gerald Washington is looking for his opportunity.
Absolutely.
He's looking for his shot. He's more cool and calm and would be fine boxing his way to a decision. I feel like it's more so Charles Martin that's like, I want to take his socks off.
I want to, rip his head off in many aspects. And he wants to hit him so hard that his socks fly off. Well, I'm sure Deontay Wilder's done that to many adversaries. And Charles Martin comes forward as we're under a minute to go here in this 5th round between these 2 heavyweights. Washington, 37 years of age. Martin, 33. This is an eliminator fight, so the winner of this fight would, behind Kubrat Pulev, would become the mandatory. Nice right hand for Gerald Washington that I'm sure gives him confidence.
Yes, that was a solid right hand, and that came pretty effortlessly from Gerald Washington. Unfortunately, they're too few and far between, I think, to win him this round or pretty much any round so far in this fight.
And go ahead. Go.
I believe the mouthpiece came out. Yes, the mouthpiece.
So far in this fight for Charles Martin, and Gerald Washington landed a nice straight right hand as well in that last round, but I don't think it was enough to take the round. I think it's pretty much been a shutout to this point for Charles Martin.
Well, Martin was a considerable favorite according to the odds makers here. He was minus 500. Gerald Washington was almost a 4-to-1 underdog heading into this co-main event. There's a right hand by Martin.
And a left hook on the way out.
So, if you're Charles Martin, I think Martin realizes he has the advantage in the power department and is more of the aggressor. And there's a right to the midsection by Gerald Washington. Maybe Washington should be trying to do that to take away some of the air out of the lungs of Charles Martin.
Yeah, he's had success when he's able to get off first and not be on the reactive, and that's not something he hasn't really taken that initiative in this fight, at least through almost the first half of this, but this round much better, much better.
Also, Christina, some damage underneath the right eye of Gerald Washington, swelling that we see, and it's only getting worse as Gerald Washington with the right hand backing up Charles Martin as we have 100 seconds remaining in the 6th.
Both of these guys kind of timing their jab at the same time, just meeting each other with the gloves, trying to get off their lead hand, establish that lead foot position as Martin goes down to the body.
Left for Martin upstairs. Oh, no! There goes Washington on a big straight left.
3, 4, 5.
This one is over as Charles Martin has knocked out Gerald Washington. Well, Charles Martin is inching closer to a world title shot, and that victory elevated him to becoming the mandatory in the IBF division.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 57 seconds in round number 6. Our referee in charge, Tony Weeks, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of knockout. The winner of the IBF Heavyweight World Title Eliminator, Prince Charles Martin.